Nation of Fit and 10, welcome to day 47, 23 days to go. First day of scans, again, great results, even amongst some of you who thought you didn't have very good results. So surprise, surprise. More questions, so let's get into it. Stretches to help with strength training. Example, lifting the bar behind the head and squat. All right, so there's a couple things here in particular with this particular movement, okay? So, or with this particular position, having the bar behind the head across the upper back, of course not the neck. We always want to make sure that the bar is sitting below that cervical prominence here, right? I think it's our C7. We want to be below that, just below it. So, couple things here. We want to make sure that the anterior, the front, is not too tight through the shoulders and the chest. So we want to make sure that we stretch the shoulder and chest at different angles. We want to make sure that we're nice and limber through there. So by stretching overhead stretch, angle, arm parallel to the floor, and arm down at an angle, about 45 degrees. So 45 degrees below parallel, parallel, 45 degrees above parallel, and then straight overhead. Stretching out each of those, holding them for 45 seconds to a minute on each side may help you. What else may help you is to work on external rotation this way. So if you are, and you might find that this is more on one side than the other, if you are limited in terms of the ability to externally rotate back, so I'm going to show you a difference between these two arms because I'm really bad on my left. It's improving, but I'm still bad. So here I can take my arm back. I'll show you from the side actually. So here I can take my arm back and around, and right about there I reach about my end point. But on this side, I'm here and I rotate back and I start to get stuck about here. So you can see that I'm about here. Maybe I get back a bit more, but not much. So I don't have as good as external rotation on my left as I do on my right. And I do notice this when I'm squatting. So what can you do? Well, one great thing that you can do is lie on the floor, elevate the arm up, grab a very light weight, 2 or 3 pounds. So you're lying down with your arm like this. You've got the arm elevated on a towel or a yoga block. We got a yoga block at the gym. So it's sitting underneath the elbow and you're lying completely prone, and you're going to, you can rest your head on your hand like this. On your other hand, you're going to push your elbow into that block or towel, and you're going to externally rotate back, holding that weight. And what you want to do here is hold the weight up at the extremity and really try to push back by driving the elbow into the block. So you're just externally rotating. All you're doing is, imagine I'm lying down, that block is here. You're externally rotating. You're holding with that weight for about 10 seconds and go through this about 10 times. Do it on the other arm as well. Back and forth. So 10 times one arm, 10 times the other arm, 10-second hold each time. And you'll find that you'll improve. Those two things should help immensely. There's a lot more too. Sometimes it's also due to having tight lats. So just hanging from a bar can make a big difference. Actually, if you internally rotate your hand, so not holding the bar in a supinated position, but in a pronated position, but a supinated position like this, and then hanging, this can make a big difference too. That's part of the problem I have on this shoulder. Okay, so try out some of those things. Chest stretch at different angles, hanging stretch this way. This way will help too, but this way or even neutral. I do all three, to be honest with you. And then doing that external rotation off a block. Okay, that'll help with your shoulder mobility. Okay. This person writes, I can't remember at what section this was under, but maybe something that they need help with. Increasing cardio training, or something they're going to improve upon. Increasing cardio training to lose weight faster. Or, if not, getting the desired weight loss results. Okay, so this is something that we don't want to rely on an overabundance of cardio on. Again, it's a balance of exercise, both weight training. Weight training is just as important. I think it's more important long term, definitely more important for many other reasons, but I'll talk about that in the meeting this weekend. Really, really important for fat loss. Okay, yeah, you might burn a little more calories doing cardio, depending on your intensity per session, but weight loss, fat loss, and body composition goes well beyond that. But we don't want to rely on this. And remember, you're just going to be a reflection of what you do. So if you're going to rely on a lot of cardio to lose the weight and keep the weight off, then you've got to keep doing that. And this is the whole point, right? The whole point of this is to find that happy medium, or to have a happy medium between your calories and your macros, obviously. I just say calories, but ultimately I mean macros. Your macros, okay, your energy intake, and then your energy output. We want something sustainable. Okay, doing extra, yes, if you do more, you'll lose more, 100%. But with what you're doing right now, you should see that change. Now, where there can be problems is if you're off in your diet, or you're making errors, or maybe you're making errors in the beginning, right? So there might be some stagnant results just as a result of those things. But what we want at the end of the day is something that is reasonably sustainable. Okay? Cardio is a tool that we'll use to burn extra energy, but it's a tool that we want to use relatively sparingly when we're dealing with body composition. The two things we really want to rely on with body composition, okay, so fat loss, let's just keep it at fat loss for now. We want to rely on diet and weight training. Those are the two things, okay? Then we can sprinkle in some cardio as well, but we certainly don't want to become a cardio bunny. This is not going to be good for your overall body composition, especially your body fat percentage, because this has a lot to do with lean body mass. But also we don't want to be doing hours and hours of excessive work only to regain the weight afterwards because we can't sustain it, right? Okay. Plus, the human body is not meant for this. One thing that can help you a lot in this is to just move frequently throughout the day. I will tell you one thing that we're certainly not meant to do. We're not meant to be seated for hours and hours during the day. That's not how we evolved. We evolved through regular movement. So, what does this mean? Get up, get out of your chair if you're seated most of the day. Every hour to hour and a half, go for a 5 to 10 minute, I'd say 10 minute, brisk walk. It'll clear your mind. You probably feel better. You might even solve a problem you're working on, whatever, and get back to work. This can make a huge difference. Do this 3 times per day. You'll easily add on or tack on an extra 30 minutes worth of steps, which will be at least about 3,000 steps. If you're moving fast enough, 4,000 steps. And this is also just going to be good for your general health. We want to keep moving regularly throughout the day, okay? Remember, being active doesn't mean just going to the gym. Being active means moving regularly, okay? Moving regularly. All right? Message of the day. I almost forgot. On this day 47, where is it here? Those who remain focused succeed. Those who remain focused, and when I say focused, I mean they don't let their foot off the gas. That doesn't mean you don't have times where you might fall off the horse, so to speak. Okay? Where you fall down, where you make errors, where you had a weak moment, whatever. But it's about the long term, right? It's about staying focused, and focus means what are you doing most of the time over the long term? What are you doing most of the time over the long term? You've got to think about it that way. Not what can I do? What's the max I can do in a short period of time? No, that doesn't equal. That's going to get you short-term results, and that's all you're going to get. Okay? And you're going to revert back. Those who remain focused. The original saying is win, but I kind of hate that. End up succeeding. And when I talk about success, we're talking about ongoing success, right? Okay, positive energy, positive vibes, believe in yourself, for love God, give some gratitude. And I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. See ya.